Well, this tells you everything. In March of last year, the leadership of the United States and of China both declared national emergencies. In the U.S., Tony Fauci warned Congress that reopening American businesses could cause, quote, coronavirus outbreaks the government may not be able to control. Going outside, Tony Fauci said, was just too risky. Meanwhile, in China, where the coronavirus originated, a top advisor to the Chinese government declared that the country was experiencing a very different kind of threat, a more profound threat. The problem, he said, was a national masculinity crisis. Chinese boys, quote, have been spoiled by housewives and female teachers, and they were becoming, as a result, quote, delicate, timid, and effeminate. In essence, they were becoming people who might listen to someone like Tony Fauci. Left unchecked, said the Chinese government advisor, the feminization of Chinese boys would, quote, inevitably endanger the survival and development of the Chinese nation. In January, China's government acted on this recommendation. The Education Ministry of China released a notice entitled Proposal to Prevent the Feminization of Male Adolescents. The goal was to, quote, cultivate students' masculinity. Have you seen this on other channels, by the way? Kind of interesting, isn't it? China won't explain the reasoning behind this plan, but there are some clues. Last year, we learned that China has quickly developed the world's largest naval force. In 2015, China had 255 battle force ships. Now they have more than 360. And many of those ships are more capable than anything in the American naval fleet. So how are we responding to this? Well, at the White House yesterday, Joe Biden addressed it effectively. What's the American military's response? Here's what Joe Biden said.
Some of it's relatively straightforward work, where we're making good progress designing body armor that fits women properly, tailoring combat uniforms for women, creating maternity flight suits, and updating requirements for their hairstyles. And some of it is going to take an intensity of purpose and mission to really change the culture and habits that cause women to leave the military.
So we've got new hairstyles and maternity flight suits. Pregnant women are going to fight our wars. It's a mockery of the U.S. military. While China's military becomes more masculine as it's assembled the world's largest navy, our military needs to become, as Joe Biden says, more feminine, whatever feminine means anymore, since men and women no longer exist. One of the few people who's been paying attention to this is someone who served in the U.S. military, Indiana Congressman Jim Banks. Recently, he wrote a letter to the U.S. Chief of Naval Operations asking why the Navy had included a book, Racist Filth, by Ibram X. Kendi on its 2021 reading list. Because that book teaches exactly what the Chinese propaganda ministry teaches, that America is fundamentally immoral. Congressman Jim Banks joins us tonight. Congressman, thanks so much for coming on. How could a book like this, really filth, wind up on a naval reading list?
Tucker, I have no idea. I mean, we're in the middle of a 60-day stand down, something that the entire military is doing to root out what they're calling extremism in the ranks. Right now, we're in the middle of that. So you'll have to forgive me for being astonished that the top admiral in the United States Navy would put a book on his recommended reading list to every sailor in the United States Navy that says that America is racist, that capitalism is racist, written by an author that said that Amy Coney Barrett is a white colonizer because she adopted a couple of African-American children. I mean, this is astonishing to me because at a time when we're supposed to be rooting out extremism in the ranks, that's exactly what the United States Navy is pushing for the sailors to read. That's why I wrote a letter to Admiral Gilday. I haven't heard back from him yet. I wrote it to him a couple of weeks ago to bring his attention to just how terrible of a concept this book is, that divides us, that weakens our military, and that ultimately distracts us at a time when we need to be focused on the threat that we face in the great power competition with China, as you said, who has a bigger Navy than we do.
Who would not change places with the problems the President of the United States has versus the problems they have. China is going to eat our lunch
Come on, man.
So it's deeply troubling to me, but I don't have a good answer for you why this book would be included on a reading list that usually includes interesting books about the geopolitical issues that America faces. And instead, there's a book on the reading list that tells all of our sailors, some who are very young, just out of high school, that they're racist and that America is racist.
So if you wanted to destroy the U.S. military, you would tell people serving in it that the country is not worth fighting for. Is there any way to get this admiral and other flag officers up onto Capitol Hill and ask them why you're betraying your country and trying to destroy our armed forces?
Yes, Tucker, the admiral, the top admiral in the United States Navy will come and testify before the Armed Services Committee. It will be the first question that I ask him when he does. I've met him before. I've had lunch with him. I can't for the life of me understand why he would defend having this book on his reading list. Let me tell you, I served in the United States Navy. It was the most diverse experience of my life, and I have never met anyone who raised their right hand and took the oath of office, put on the uniform, who didn't love America and believe that America was great. So why we would push a book and tell them to read a book that tells them that America is rotten to the core and that America is racist and the institutions in our country, including the United States Navy, is racist is beyond belief to me.
Yeah, and should have to answer for it and pay for it, I would say. Congressman Banks, I appreciate your bravery. Thank you.
Thank you.
And some of it is going to take an intensity of purpose and mission